Hello YouTube, welcome to the Honda CL500. Honda's new, shall we say, entry-level Scrambler motorcycle. So this is an A2 compliant bike, so you don't need your full motorcycle, unrestricted motorcycle license to ride this bike. Honda are calling it a Scrambler. Now, when you hear the word Scrambler, I think of fun. I think of a fun bike. So you're thinking of the likes of the Ducati Scrambler, obviously. Words in the name, Scrambler. The Triumph Scrambler, 900 perhaps. Those are higher level bikes, more powerful, more expensive. I suppose you could be looking at also the Royal Enfield Scram 411, possibly the Royal Enfield 350 as well. Gonna find out what the little Hondas like to ride today. Is it fun enough? I gotta be honest. Now this is being brutally honest, not meaning to hate on the bike, just want to let you know what I thought of it initially. When the Honda came out with this new CL500, called it a Scrambler, I thought, oh, it looks a little bit bland actually. I was really underwhelmed by the looks. It just looked, you know, not as fun as I thought a Scrambler really should look. That's just my personal opinion. Now, looks are very subjective, and we're going to take her for a ride today, open-minded, and see if the little, I say little, it's 500cc or 471cc parallel twin with 46 horsepower and 43 newton meters of torque. But we're just gonna, ride it open-minded and see how it feels. Straight off the bat, jumping on, how does it feel? It feels light, very thin tank, thin in between your legs. Very much a Scrambler riding position, riding style. It's got wide handlebars, nice and high up as well. You're definitely a little bit higher up off of the ground, like you sort of, like Scramblers make you do feel. So overall the riding position is quite Scrambler-esque. Good sign so far in the riding position for sure. Very light clutch, very light handling. It definitely feels Scrambler-esque. So if we just go over the cockpit area here, the dash, you've got your round LCD screen there with your speed, gear indicator, fuel and your time. Very basic, which is not a bad thing. You don't need to overload this with tech. This is a basic motorcycle. There's no riding modes, nothing like that. It's sort of what you see is what you get type of thing, which is quite refreshing in today's market of motorbikes. Oh, there's a little bit of torque there. Switch gear again, very basic, a little plasticky if I'm being honest, but at this price point, not bad. It's typical Honda switch gear. On that, the price is £5,999, so a good value motorcycle, you could say, I suppose, or maybe you wouldn't say it is. It's cheap, it's more expensive than the Royal Enfield Scram 411, and we shall see whether it is as fun as that motorcycle in a second when we reach some better roads. Catch up with you in a bizzle. So guys, the keen viewers of you may have noticed I've got my summer gear on. Oh, what's going on? It's getting that time of year. I thought I'd brave it. Oh, bad idea. I am freezing. We're not quite there yet in the UK. This is a full mesh Merlin Chigwell light jacket and it's just letting all of that wind through. Pretty nippy to say the least, so I was a bit premature on that. Right, what's she like to ride? So power wise, it's not overwhelming. I would say a little bit more power than I was expecting actually. If you're comparing it to the Royal Enfield Scram 411, this is a fair bit pokier than that. This parallel twin from Honda, the 500, they use it in a lot of other platforms. 500cc bikes in Honda, it's well used and refined. The motor is good. Perhaps for a Scrambler, possibly too refined. It's got a good amount of performance though, that's for sure. It is quite fun. I'm stuck behind this white van, but it's just that classic Scrambler riding style, the wide handlebars. I think they've done well making it feel like a Scrambler, riding like a Scrambler, on the road anyway. So you got 6 gears guys, 1 down, 5 up. It's nice to have that 6 when you get up sort of 60 miles an hour, just to smooth the bike out a touch. It's fun. It's a nice amount of power actually, especially for an A2 compliant bike. There's plenty to have fun on. I don't feel shortchanged in power. Definitely not. The handling is quite nice actually. You've got that higher up, slightly higher up riding position that you get from Scramblers, and it's just fun. You could just have fun with it. It's a nice riding bike actually. The suspension is quite soft. It's definitely on the softer side. However, I think Honda have done that intentionally for the Scrambler vibes, because you know, Scramblers aren't meant to be planted and so completely connected to the road. With that slightly softer suspension, it feels more Scrambler-esque. It feels like it can be going off-road. You're getting a bit more sort of wallowing, so to speak, in a good way from the road. I quite like the suspension setup. This is a fun bike. I was skeptical coming into it. The looks are a different matter, but the riding, it is good fun. The engine could have more character. Like, as we stop here, I'll just do the exhaust. The exhaust sounds quite nice when you're stopped, because it's actually got two pipes at the back. They've split it, so Honda do something quite clever with the sound to make the exhaust sound good. And it does work when you're still. It's got a characterful, throaty sound to it, but when you're moving along, you can't hear it. Anything above 40 miles an hour, 35, 40 miles an hour, the exhaust noise is gone, you can't hear it. So that is a bit of a shame. It's lacking real character that you would like from a Scrambler. So, standing up, what's she like? Oh, it's very bumpy, the suspension. It's quite soft. That is a little bit too soft, I reckon, but not bad, it's fun. I'm definitely getting Scrambler vibes, fun vibes from it, just wanting to, you know, hit these rough roads, the bumps, stand up, play around. Dynamically a fun riding motorcycle. Let's go over a few specifications, guys, but before we get into the specifications, what is going on there? Yes, I have had a haircut. Boom, all come off. There you go. Hey, take a proper look. Fresh, baby-faced, ready for the summer. Sun's coming out, thought time for a change, went big, all off. Feels good, feels nice. Enjoying the new hair. I hope you like it, let me know in the comments. Anyway, hairstyle out of the way. Onto the bike. So that engine, the parallel twin 500 CL 471cc parallel twin from Honda, used in the Rebel 500, the CB 500R, many of Honda's platforms. It's a great engine actually. I've never ridden it before. Never ridden this motor before. I can say motor is certainly good enough and has enough power and fun there. I'm impressed with the motor and the performance from that 500cc parallel twin. You're not going to be lacking for power. Okay, front brakes. You have a single 310mm disc with a 2-piston Nissin caliper. Brakes are interesting up front, a little bit on the softer side, definitely on the softer side, much like the suspension. When you really pull on them, plenty enough to bring the bike to a stop. It is a light bike and it's not that powerful, so you don't necessarily need dual discs up front. It is just noticeable when you're jumping on. It's like, oh, there's a bit of give in those brakes. They're not the sharpest brakes, but more than enough to bring you to a stop. Rear brakes, you have a single 240mm disc, a single piston Nissin caliper. Front suspension, 41mm upright forks with 150mm of travel, non-adjustable. Rear suspension, guys, you actually have dual shocks to give it that sort of scrambler, slightly nod towards the retro look, with five-way preload adjustable, so you do have some preload adjustability there to sort of stiffen it up a little bit on the rear end if you feel like the suspension is too soft. Like I say, the suspension is definitely on the softer side, possibly a little bit too soft, but actually it adds to the sort of scrambler theme of the bike, so I don't think it's the end of the world. The dual shocks do add to the retro look, and it's a nice idea. However, as standard, that's not too hot, That is a big end can, big exhaust there, so you can't really see the suspension on the right hand side. So yeah, I mean, that is just one big can of exhaust on the bike. You know, they got to fit all of the Euro 5 gubbins in there to keep it nice and clean, but yeah, that's one big can that stands out. Okay, for reference, I'm 5'9" with a 32-inch inseam on my leg. Let's jump on, take a look at the seat height and the weight of the bike. So guys, seat height is a 790mm seat. So actually it's relatively lower than I was expecting for a Scrambler. I can very comfortably flat foot it. Along with that, it's a very, very thin tank and seat as well. So it's a really easy bike to maneuver around and ride as well because of that. Yet it does feel like you're sitting higher up. It feels like you have quite a nice high up riding position, which is nice on a Scrambler style bike like this. Yet you can easily reach the ground. Along with that, it's 191 kilograms, so it's a relatively light bike. All of that tying in, great for just a fun, easygoing, lovable bit of a ride of a bike. It's really easy and it feels quite thin when you're on it, I would say. It doesn't feel small, it's not insignificant on the road, but yeah, nice and easy and good for potentially learner bikers with the A2 compliant license as well. Okay, so there are the specs for you guys. Actually, on that, I quite like the headlight. Just noticing here, sort of LED 4 separate sort of bulbs there. Quite a smart headlight. 19-inch front wheel, very Scrambler-esque. Nice for hitting those potholes and bumps on the road, etc. Possibly down gravel tracks. Does give it a nice Scrambler handling feeling to the bike. Now, what do you think of the looks? I'm sorry, Honda, I don't dislike the looks, but I do think it looks quite bland for a Scrambler, to be honest. That's just my personal opinion on the looks. Yours may well be completely different. You might absolutely love it. I think it is a little bit on the more boring side. However, it's coming in at a good price. You get a nice colour options for the tanks. You can have a nice colourful options there. One thing, you can spec it with a few good extras actually. I think you get an adventure pack, travel pack, various different packs, and that dramatically improves the looks. You get a little fly screen here. You get hand guards all in white, which really improves the front end look of the bike. Also, you can actually get, which I'm surprised, quite a nice side pannier here on the left hand side. Obviously you can't on the right because the exhaust is there, but on the left hand side you get a nice sort of canvas bag. That really changes the looks. I'm being a bit harsh about the looks, but there's potential there to make it look a lot better than I think it does now, really. Just mentioning on the Scrambler side of things, they're not really intending you to go off-road on this. There's no bash plate at all for the exhaust headers here. Zero protection there. That would be nice to have. Not sure if that's an option, but I hope it is. Also, Scrambler style, I like the Mickey Mouse, we call them. I like to call them the round wing mirrors either side. They're good. The wing mirrors are actually a good point. This would be a great bike for... Oh, keys down here, by the way. Quite cool. Nice little touch. This would be a great bike for... Hey, listen to that. It sounds nice when it's still. When you get moving, different story. Lets it down a bit. What was I saying? This would be a great bike for in town, for urban use as well. Really good. Worth bearing that in mind. Let's roll on a bit. Show you acceleration. Yeah, so that's 65 miles an hour in fourth gear. Nice performance. And actually, just riding through a village here, just like to mention the fueling and the throttle response is really nice. It's really very smooth coming on and off of the throttle. Yeah, it's a really easy bike to ride at slower speeds and just keep a steady speed and just sort of relax and keep it smooth. That's testament to Honda's really build quality and how well they've refine this engine. I think I am quite enjoying this actually. I like that motor's got a bit of poke to it. If it didn't, then it would be definitely edge on the slightly boringer side, but with that motor having a nice nice bit of performance. It makes this actually quite a fun bike to sort of play around with. Perfect for back lanes. Would I have this over the Royal Enfield Scram 411? Yes, I would. I much prefer the looks of the Royal Enfield, but this is a more fun riding machine if you like your performance and digging in a bit. Digging into those corners. It's a cool bike. The looks, the switch gear, the electrical dash are just something, it's not to be desired after, shall we say. I don't think it's a poster, you know, poster wall, is that the word? Put a poster on your wall and admire it. There you go, sorry. Oh, but that is so jaggy tight. It's not pulling at my heartstrings with the looks, but the ride is actually really fun. Yeah, I'm going to say it is fun enough. It's not oozing character, but it's a fun bike and there's potential there to spec her out, make her look a lot nicer, change that end can, put something pretty loud on it, and then you're looking at quite a fun bike actually. Yeah, I'm going to wrap the video up there. I don't want to blab on too much, but overall I'm going to say good job Honda. Good bike, fun bike. It has its flaws, it has its weaknesses, but overall, if you're looking for just a light-hearted, lovable little scrambler, check out the Honda CL500. On that point, my apologies, I want to say a massive thank you to Oxford Abingdon Blade Honda Motorcycles. That was a bit of a long one. Just go with Oxford Honda Motorcycles, that'll come up with Blade. Many thanks to them for lending me this brand new bike. I'm the first one to ride it, so yeah, feel very privileged. Thank you for that, Blade. Give them a shout, guys. They're really helpful and nice down there. It's a really nice setup. They've always been great to me, so thank you, Blade. Big shout out to Mental Health Awareness. I hope you're all doing well out there. Keep your spirits up, keep it simple, stay present in the moment and enjoy life. Bit of a deep one for you there. Thank you. See you in the next vid. Ciao Bella. Just flows around the corners. Just a really nice flowing bike. God, I love scramblers.